Hopefully you guys can see my screen.
Yep.
Right, perfect. All right, thank you so much for joining, guys. Today is July 3rd, 2024, and this meeting is for our LJ Realty team. And let's get started with our interest rates. So according to Freddie Mac, the interest rates were hovering around 6.86 for 30-year fixed rates and 6.16 for 15 years. Okay, this is on weekly basis and this is on daily basis. So as of yesterday, we saw for Mortgage News Daily, the rates were around 7.13. And this one really matches with what our lenders are offering to the top tier scenario. Yesterday, I was at a closing with a client, and because one of our agents was out of country, and so if for any reason you cannot attend the closing, we don't want to have your client looking for you, right? If you need to arrange something and you want me to be there or assign another agent, let's be professional. If you need to leave out of country, even if it's a family emergency, you should be contacting the office and saying, hey, I have a scheduled closing. We need to do a final walkthrough. So we're going to be there for your support, but we do not know what your schedule looks like. So keep us in the loop. So I was talking to them and in yesterday's closing, and they received an interest rate of 6.79. And and another party was there, and they were just asking question here: what really goes on when it comes to interest rates? Why someone is offering 7.5 versus 6.99? Right? There's many different factors, really depending on their credit scores, the down payment they're gonna put down, if it's gonna be a primary residence or it's gonna be investment, meaning are they going to live there, or if it's gonna be investment for them, or they're gonna rent it out, right? All those factors go into this. So what type of loan they're getting? Are they getting FHA? So if it's FHA here, they might be getting 6.6 instead of 7.13, right? A lot of pros and cons, but just need to have your client know that, hey, when they look at the headlines, does not mean they can get that interest rate. They might get it better or worse depending on their situation. Okay, but the norm that we have seen for months now is 7. If anybody asks you guys, hey, what's the average interest rates right now, they're still hovering around 7%. Okay, this is a real example for our one of our clients. They were making around $94,000. Their down payment was around $65,000. They had no monthly debt. They took care of that. Interest rate, they were first time home buyer. They received 6.99. The property taxes around $5,200. And property insurance was around $1,400. In this case, we put 15. So this person purchased a house that was around $560,000 in Long Island. Okay, it was in Elmont. Um, it was a really tiny house. That's why the property taxes were so little. The mortgage that they went with was a conventional loan, even though they were planning to go with FHA. This was a conventional loan. Their credit scores were more than 620. They put down around about 5 to 7%. Their DTI was 49%. Right? They maxed out on their conventional, but because they were on conventional loan, they don't have to worry about their mortgage insurance. Okay? And this could have been, we told them if they want to rent it out, that's perfectly fine. If they want to do a flip, that's perfectly fine. But if it's a first time home buyer, they plan to live there for at least 3 to 5 years. They just got married, so they're thinking when they have a kid or two, they're going to even make this property into investment and go ahead and purchase a bigger house when the time allows them. Okay, so you want to guide your clients like, hey, maybe it is a starter house for you, but it might be a small house for you. Really depending on what their long-term goals are, right? How many years they plan to live there. So we need to find that out from our clients just by having a conversation, right? Which loan types they're going to go with really depends on their credit scores, their income, their debt, right? What is their budget? Everything will matter when they speak to a loan officer. So if you guide them to us, that's great. But if you guide them to another loan officer, that's fine too. But this should be going to at least 2 or 3 different people and seeing what their options are. Okay? And why do you want to get pre-approved? right? We have cases where our real estate agents are showing and showing and showing properties, and then all of a sudden you find out, hey, this client is not even qualified for that budget, right? Maybe you're showing them $600,000 property, thinking that, hey, there's no problem showing them $600,000 property, but maybe they're only qualified for $400,000, right? They might be making a lot of money, which is their income, but they might have a lot of debt. If they bought a fancy car and the car payment is $7, $8, $900, guess what? They're gonna qualify for a lot less now. Okay, but you want to make sure your client is pre-approved. You're working with someone that's pre-approved, right? So you can show them, make sure that they are an attractive buyer to your sellers, right? And if you're the listing agent, especially if you're the listing agent and have a property over $1 million, you want to see a pre-approval, right? On the other hand, if you're a listing agent and your property is worth maybe 500,000, 600,000, maybe you let it slide. But anybody like that's serious as a listing agent will require a pre-approval, even at the showings. Okay, it really depends on the market. So you want to make sure your clients are pre-approved. And notice that there's more Americans now, this is on the headlines too, that more Americans have mortgages above 5%. So not everybody has 3 or 4% interest rates anymore. People are purchasing houses over 7%. How many? Over close to 2 million people purchased properties that have greater than 7% interest rates. So a client is just not looking or paying attention to the interest rate itself, right? They can refinance down the line. So you want to make sure that your client, when they're looking at it and saying, hey, the interest rates are too high, tell them, hey, if you're really renting right now, you have a steady income and you have a family and you plan to be in this area in New York for a long time, why not purchase a house, right? Why not build equity over the years? Even yesterday's closing, we had a few partners that was at the closing, and each of them made over $200,000 in profit. Okay, so it was around $600,000 profit sitting there for a property. It took them a few years, not just a few years, more than 10 years to get there. But guess what? It was a better investment than anything else they said. They said we could have invested in a business. We don't know what kind of money they would have received, what kind of equity would have been built. But with the property, you can rest assured that, especially in New York, the value keeps going up and up and up. Okay. And there are some surprises for homeowners where their mortgage payments go higher, right? There are adjustable rates and there's fixed rates. Even if you have fixed rate, I want to clarify that. If your client asks you, hey, Damien, I had my mortgage was $4,000 and it went to $4,300. Your first concern should be, hey, do you have a fixed rate or do you have an adjustable rate, right? If they have adjustable rate, the bank statement that they're getting or the lender statement they're getting every month, right, should indicate that. Even when they signed up for this mortgage, they should know that was it fixed rate, was it adjustable, right? That's a big factor. So why would a fixed rate, if it's fixed, why is my payment going up? The simple answer is that maybe your home insurance went up, right? So maybe you went from 1,500 to 1,800, or maybe you went from 2,000 to 2,500. So now that will affect your monthly mortgage payment. Or your property taxes went up. Okay, if the property taxes were 7,000 and maybe it went to 7,500 or 8,000 now. So if you have a fixed rate mortgage and your payment was $3,000 and or $4,000, doesn't matter what it is, and if it went up, first two questions should be, hey, did my mortgage insurance go up? Sorry, did my home insurance go up, or did my property taxes go up? Okay, property taxes or your home insurance. And recent months now, both of them have gone up. We have seen it in Nassau County in Long Island. We have seen it in Queens, where a single family property or two family property, the property taxes went up as high as $2,000, right? And for your home insurance, how many of you guys received renewal letters and your home insurance went up? Maybe $100, $200, $500, right? And some of these companies are going bankrupt, the home insurance company, and they don't want to be in your area. So they will skyrocket. They will double your home insurance. So because they don't want to deal with that area anymore. So you do have to shop around. Okay, those are the two reasons your mortgage payment will go up if you have a 30-year mortgage. So this example that I'm about to show you, her name was Jennifer Hernandez. She was a loan officer, right? Mind you, she was a loan officer, and she took out a loan for about $1 million, right? So a fancy house if she took out $1 million loan. But guess what? She thought that she had an ARM loan for 10-1, meaning that first number 10 is fixed for first 10 years. But she didn't realize it was actually 7-1, which is for first 7 years. So she did this loan in 2016, and now her mortgage payment jumped up around $2,000. And as you can imagine, she was stunned, right? So if a loan officer, and this was her excuse, hey, I was caught blindsided. Life gets to you in the way, you get busy, and you get been slammed with the kids, and you work 7 days you've been working for a long time, and you don't know what you're signing up for. That is so crucial when your clients are purchasing a house. They should know, hey, are they getting a fixed rate mortgage, or are they getting a ARM loan, which is your adjustable rate? So the takeaway should be, if you're a first-time home buyer, you should be avoiding ARM loans, because you don't want your payment to go up in the near future. It could be 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. You don't want any surprises. Okay? If you go with a fixed rate, there's no surprise. Even if your mortgage payment do go up, you know the reasons, as we mentioned, your property taxes or your home insurance. And if you're getting a fixed rate today, right, and the interest rates are 7%, you will go ahead and refinance this when the interest rate come down to 6% or 5.5%, so your mortgage payment will be reduced. Okay, so if you're a first-time home buyer, you should always recommend to your client, hey, I just want to make sure, I'm a realtor, I'm not a loan officer, but I just want to be the guidance for you guys. Make sure that, hey, are you getting ARM or are you getting a fixed rate? Okay. Next, guys, we are, as New York, we saw, maybe you guys saw in Florida what's happening. The inventory has been gone up and up, right, every month. So now Florida is definitely a buyer's market right now. Okay, so you guys can do some research on Zillow. Just type in Florida's any address in Florida, and you will see there's plenty of inventory. Manhattan is finally seeing more inventory. Okay, because of this high interest rate, the mortgage payments are on the higher end. But as long as you have your inventory increases, the prices should start adjusting to a level where it's considered a buyer's market. What is a buyer's market? That means buyer have options. Okay, what is a seller's market? Hey, seller is getting too many offers, so seller is going to be in the right position to sell the house at the highest price. If it's a buyer's market, you should be having more things in favor of your client, your buyers, right? That means not waiving any contingencies. That means that you're putting in an offer on the lower end, not on the higher end. Okay, if Florida is happening in Florida, it's happening in New York City, starting with Manhattan. We should expect the same thing for Queens and Long Island in the coming months. Okay. And how about the rental side, guys? If you guys are on the renting side, and if you guys have never done any rental, highly recommend that with your license, you should be able to do rentals and make some quick money out of that, right? But with the inventory for your rental is on the other side. It's definitely on the lowest end. The vacancy rate is around 1.4%. That means there's only less than 2 apartments available per every 100 residents of New York, right? That means there's not a lot of options. So you guys want to be on the rental side. So this way, when you do help out your client, they appreciate it. Second is, like, when the time comes for them to buy a house, hopefully you stay connected with them and they come back to you. Okay, so you want to be that guidance for the rental as well. Okay, with the rentals, it's like, hey, is there any money to be paid with the rental, right? Are you going to get paid? Absolutely, you should get paid for that. Even if you're splitting the commission with the listing agent, right, or the landlord's agent, you're still making half of the money. How long does it take to close a rental deal? You can literally, if you find a property, and let's say today is July 3rd, and you say, hey, by August 1st, my client's going to be moving in, you're going to write up everything on the lease. You can literally do this within 30 days. The hard part is finding the rental properties. And how do I do that? How do I find rental properties for my clients? It's in KV Core. Just like how we do searches for rental, our single family or two family in KV Core, I would set up alerts same way for rentals. The only difference is the budget and the type. Instead of putting in single family, I'm putting in, hey, this is a rental and my budget is $2,500. Okay. And does Section 8 or CityFab pay you 15% of annual rent? Right? That's a big one. I have seen checks for our agents where they're $3,000, $4,000, as high as $5,000 from a rental, right? Depending on how many bedrooms are there and what is the rental annual rent. In order to calculate that, so whatever the monthly rent is, times that by 12, right? So you get the whole year, that's your annual rent, and you take 15% from that. So usually if the rental is for $2,000, your commission is going to be around $3,500. Okay, you decide, is $3,500 is good amount for me or not. If I start doing one rental every month, hey, will that $3,500 add up to anything? Will it be, beneficial for me? If yes, I highly recommend that you start helping out people who needs to find properties for rent. Okay. If it's something illegal, if it's something that you don't want to be part of, you should not. You don't want to jeopardize your license. If there's a lease involved, first floor, second floor, go for it. If someone is telling you to rent out a basement, I highly recommend that you stay away from this. Unless if you're taking your own risk and everything, you're going to be jeopardizing your license. Okay? And when it comes to city fabs, this is where city fab pays you 15% annual rent and Section 8 does not. Okay? So if you want to focus on city fabs, learn all the guidelines from city fabs. Okay, and so this way you can help our clients. So we have a brand new agent, Sunil, who's been, just started, and he said, hey, I don't want to say no to rentals, and he received about 6 or 7 clients within the first week, and he's going through it. So there's pros and cons to this. Right? I told him, hey, because you're just starting, rental is great. We want you to focus on that too, so you can but we don't want you to unfocus on our buying side too. Okay, both of them should go hand in hand. If you're brand new, forget about being a listing agent. You be the judge. If you're brand new, you never sold a property, and you go up to a listing, to a homeowner and say, hey, let me sell your house, and they ask you different questions and you have no idea about it. What are the chances of you getting that property or getting that listing? Very slim. But if you have enough experience from rental, if you have enough experience from buying, then you can definitely be on the listing side. Okay? So learn the guidelines, guys. So in the last few meetings, we mentioned ChatGPT, guys, is just like Google. Some of you guys think that is really, complicated. It's not. Just go to ChatGPT. We have added a link on ljagent.com as well. And you can ask simple questions. So since we're talking about rentals, I asked a simple question: how can real estate agent help tenant find properties to rent if they have CityFab's voucher? Right? A real estate agent can be very helpful for tenants with CityFab vouchers, finding rental properties. Here's how they can assist. Okay? First, they will tell you, hey, understanding the vouchers requirement. That's why we say go to CityFab's website and read up on the PDF and the guidelines that they have to offer. It's not complicated. Okay, it is not complicated. It's just a matter of going there and finding out the details from them, right? Finding out, hey, what properties are eligible, what are the requirements, and what are the restrictions there. Okay, and then searching for suitable properties. You have MLS in your KV core, setting up alerts for them, just like how you're setting up alerts for, single family property or two family property, same exact way. First, you understand the guidelines. Second, you understand, hey, how I'm going to find them properties. And then you connecting with the landlord or the listing agents, right? If there's a property on the market, which is on our MLS, the listing agent cannot discriminate and say, hey, we don't accept vouchers. So when they are saying that we don't accept vouchers, their discrimination is against income. And that's one of the protected classes. So if you're making less money and the city is paying for you to rent out, so guess who's going to be paying out the rent for the next 12 months? It is not the tenant, it is the city paying to the landlord. So there should be no discrimination on that. Okay? And if the listing agent might come up with 50 different excuses, hey, we don't accept it, or the landlord doesn't accept it, you should be educated enough in saying that, hey, if the property's on MLS, I expect you to show this property because I'm a licensed person, a licensed agent, and I want to make sure that I can have my tenant see the property. Okay? And navigating through paperwork. If it's your first time dealing with this, use us as a support system. Hey, I have this application. I never did this for City Fabs. I need to fill out an application online. Could you help me? Come to the office so we can help you navigate through the paperwork and application. Okay? And the lease term, very simple. We had someone walk in this morning. Hey, this is a real estate office, right? They expect, and you're a real estate agent, they expect you to have lease forms. So like, I just need a standard lease form. Can you provide that to me? The answer should be yes. We have lease forms. We have it on ljagent.com. The password did change for LJ Agent. I hope everyone knows it. If you don't, just send me a message and I'll give you that to you. Okay? The point is that you use the tools and provide them the lease agreement. Okay? And if your client needs any guidance on the process of when they can move in, what are the guidelines, we can help you. You need to do the first part. We can do the second part for you. Okay? What is the first part? Is finding them properties, connecting with the listing agents. Hey, I need to show this property as quickly as possible for this client. I need to make that 15% commission, man. Okay? You want to be advocating for your tenant, right? There might be some misunderstanding with it. Say, hey, this person is receiving a voucher. This person must be a bad person, right? Or have a terrible character. That's not the case. People lose jobs. City is there to support, right? So if someone is getting a city voucher, it does not mean they're a bad person, guys. You have to tell them, hey, look at this person's situation. This is what they were working. This is where they're currently working right now. However you can advocate for your tenant, you want to do that. Okay? So, guys, use ChatGPT for any questions that you have, and you will get answers like this. Okay? Any questions on rentals, or anybody just getting started with the rentals on City Fabs? There's many programs out there, but any questions or concerns so far? All right, guys. If anything, you guys can ask me later. Home inspection, right? There's few agents. I want to go over the cost. Let's say you might say, hey, you don't have to do a home inspection. And that might turn out to be a really bad decision for you as a real estate agent and for the home buyer. And it may cost you $10,000 or cost them $50,000, right? So let's go through that. When you say, hey, let's waive the home inspection because there's a line out the door for the buyers. We went to open house and there's too many buyers out there. So, you might say, hey, let's waive the home inspection. And your client might say, hey, I don't want to do that, right? So you want to make sure that you're on your client side and say, hey, let's do a home inspection. Otherwise, we might fall into these traps. So the number one is your foundation, right? Foundation issues. To fix that, let's just go over it. It might be as low as $5,000 or as high as $50,000, right? So there might be a small crack that you might see, and you might say, hey, it's not a big deal. And behind the walls might be a severe crack, and it might, bring down the whole house in the near future. Okay? If it's a roof damage, it might be a $5,000 fix, or it might be a $10,000 fix. Okay? Huge difference there. So that home inspection, $500, can really save you guys a lot in the long run. If it's a plumbing leak, right? You might see leaks can have some mold or water damage. Anything has to do with plumbing can cost thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And if it's electric problem, same exact thing. If it's going to be a panel upgrade, and there might be 50-year-old panels that needs to be updated, right? Sometimes they plug in something, maybe a fan or iron or anything like that, any appliances, and then the whole panel triggers to it turns off, and you have to reset everything, right? If it's constantly doing that, you need to upgrade your panels, and it might cost you thousands of dollars doing that. Okay. If it's the heating system or the cooling system, again, can cost you as low as $3,000 or as high as $7,000 for that. So now you guys have seen it. If you're a listing agent, your offer gets accepted. You're sending to you're sending your deal sheet, the offer letter, everything to the seller's attorney and saying, hey, we have an offer accepted. But the seller's attorney says, hey, that's good for you, but I'm not going to send out the contract until I have the property condition disclosure from the seller. I need to know what is the property's condition according to the seller, right? We have that form. Every seller needs to fill that form out to the best knowledge that they have, right? They might be living in that property for a year or 10 years or 50 years, doesn't matter. They have to fill that out, right? That is a new law that is implemented for a few months now, but every one of us are will find that out when you're actually doing a deal. Hey man, the seller's attorney is not sending out the contract. Maybe the property's condition disclosure has not been sent to the attorney. Okay. Prior to this, every buyer was getting a $500 credit at the closing because the seller was not disclosing the condition. Now the government said that $500 is no good. We want to make sure that every seller is providing this disclosure to the attorney. Hey, I feel like, this is good, this is not good, this is good, this is not good, right? Very straightforward, checking off things about the property itself. It's literally the property's condition according to the seller. Okay. We did have a couple of deals where, I believe Daljit mentioned, or one of our other agent mentioned too, that, hey, these some sellers are too honest, which is a good thing. Hey, they're being honest with like, hey, the boiler is really old, or we did have a water damage. That means you guys should be taking some action in favor of your buyer. Okay. And the buyer have the right to do an inspection. They should do an inspection so nobody can come back to you and say, hey, this was a major problem after the closing, right? I even say go as far as, even if that deal falls through and you say, hey, I have to cancel this and find them a new property and start all over again. That's perfectly fine. This is how you're going to get the referrals, right? This is when they know that, hey, Saab, you are really on my side, man. Every time or when you're finding a property, you're pointing out the pros and the cons. That means you're working on my side as a buyer. I want to make sure that next person, my cousin wants to buy a house, I send them a referral to you. Okay. All right, guys. If you already own a home right now, you're currently a homeowner, you might want to be maintaining your house, especially for the summer, right? Inspecting the roof for if there's any damages there. Replacing any burned out bulbs. If the lighting fixture needs to be updated, you need to clean or repair your deck or patio or fences. You want to do that. Again, yesterday's closing that I was doing for one of our agents, I did the final walkthrough, and the backyard had the whole fence was like all over. Like the whole fence, it was like divided into 3 different parts, 3 different fences. So I mentioned like, hey, after the closing, this should be your number one concern. Right, the fence itself, it should be very straight, right? You already have a survey done. Follow the survey and have someone come in and make sure you have your fence straightened out so there's no issues. You don't want to wait 3 months, 6 months and then try to do this. You just bought the house. If there's any dispute with your neighbor, you have your survey and get this fixed as soon as possible. Okay. All right, guys. So next, guys, I want to talk about homeowners association, which is your HOA. Not every neighborhood has this, but if you are dealing with Long Island or Brooklyn or even in Queens, There are some areas where there's everything is normal, what we're paying for right now, you know, for your mortgage insurance, your principal, your interest, everything that you're paying, your property taxes. On top of that, you have to worry about HOA. So, what is a HOA? As a realtor, we should know this, that this is an organization that is subdivision of a planned community, right? This could be a condo building, it could be a single family, really depending on which area that you're in, and they're setting the rules for that property and the residents, right? They're setting the rules, additional rules just for that community, right? So here's some memes. It's like, hey, you forgot to mow your lawn, you're going to go to jail. It's a meme, trying to be funny here. You planted a wrong flower, right? You're gonna go to jail, right? Or you're gonna get fined. So they might tell you, hey, you gotta follow the rules. If you are not mowing your lawn, right? You have the grass is coming up, I don't know how many inches, whatever the requirements are, but if it's coming higher than your neighbors, you might get violation, right? You might have to pay a fine for that. So there are pros and cons to this, but HOA, when for your clients, the point here is that every property you're showing, if there's a HOA, you want to tell your client, hey, this area is just like how we have a village will have restrictions. On top of a village, if there's a HOA on this property, right, homeowners association, there's going to be more restrictions, right? So if you want to follow the guidelines, you have no problem doing this, it's perfectly fine, right? You will go with HOA. But if you're one of those homeowners who would like to modify your house in many different ways, then maybe you want to stay away from this. Okay? So just here are some guidelines here for them. Okay? What are the benefits? Benefits is basically, hey, everybody's going to follow the rules and your property is going to look as clean as possible because it's following everybody else's rules, right? It's going to bring your property's value up because it's maintained well, right? If it was something renting out and you did not have HOA and there's some homeowners who would not go visit their rental properties or maintain their rental properties, right? That's going to be a violation for HOA, right? So you want to focus on and see what type of client that you have, which area they want to be in, and if the property has HOA, explain the benefits and pros and cons to that, right? And the drawbacks are, hey, there's restrictions, right? Sometimes you are okay with it, sometimes you're not. So you just want to make sure. And how much should they charge? If it's a HOA, how much do they usually charge? Well, it really depends on what type of property it is, right? How many properties are in that group? Where is it located? What are the amenities that's offered, right? Some of them are really going far as having a pool, having a nice park, really nice in a luxury neighborhood. It can be as high as $10,000 a year, or maybe as low as maybe $200 per month, right? It can really vary. So you need to find out. The simplest way to find out is asking the listing agent, hey, I just want to make sure that there's no HOA involved in this property. If they say yes, find out what type of HOA it is and how much do they charge per month. Okay, the membership is usually required for your homeowners. Okay. All right, guys. Next, guys, I want to go over your KV core, which is known as Bolt now. So once you are in it, right, I want you to set up different filters. So you don't have to go to MLS, Stratus. You can do everything in KV core or Bolt, right? So how are you going to do that? Once you're logged into KV core, you're going to click on listings, right? So I want to create a filter where I can see what are the upcoming open houses that is going to be in my area or any area I want to serve. It could be Elmont, it could be Queens, it could be in Brooklyn. How do I set up alerts where I can with one click I can see, hey, what are the new open houses that's coming up this weekend, right? So first I go to listings, then I click on filters. If it already says applied filters, click on that. And then you will see this navigation here. And then once in this navigation, this is where you're going to filter out. So what I'm looking to do is, first I want to pick out, I want to draw on the map and say, hey, this is the area. If you just want to find out what's going on in Valley Stream, you can simply type in the location. As every one of us are doing this, is going to be drawing on map, hey, this is the area I'm serving. Next, I want to find out, hey, this is going to be for $500,000 to $600,000 property. So I'm putting in my price range. Then maybe I want to find out what are the open houses just for 3 bedrooms or more. If you leave this blank, it will show you everything in that price range. Okay. Below that, you will see where it says general options. Under general options, you will see all these options, and I want to click on open house. So I want to see in this area, this price range, this many bedrooms, and I want to see open houses for that. And then all the way at the bottom, it will say apply filters and save filters. I would click on save filters, and this will, another pop-up window will come up. I can name that filter, so I will put in open house or open houses, and I would check this or toggle this on where it says pin this filter as a quick link at top of CRM. Okay, and then I click on save new filter. Once you have done that, now when you go back to your listing in KV Core, it will, once you just toggle over this, scroll over this, you will see a list. So I have set up different alerts here for myself, and you can see the latest one was open houses. Okay, so I highly recommend that every one of us have different filters set up in our KV Core listing side. So what I have done is, like in the morning, it literally takes me 5 minutes to do my research. Hey, I have a habit of knowing, even though if I'm not producing right now, right, but I still want to know if there's any new properties in Nassau or in Queens, right? So a couple of filters that I have is, one of them is my 2-family in Queens and Nassau. I just want to see what are the 2-family properties available. I also have a single family. And then because we're looking for a location in Nassau, so I've been searching every day for commercial Nassau and then commercial Queens. Okay, that means give me all the properties that's going to be commercial for those areas. So these are filters. Once you save it, you can easily navigate through this and see what is the latest properties available at your fingertips. You don't have to do any other research, right? If you start spending 5 to 10 minutes on this, even if you're a brand new agent, trust me, because of the inventory, automatically your brain is going to start functioning as a realtor. Oh, there is a property available in this area with this specs. So this way, when you're talking to your client, all this inventory start popping up in your head. Okay. All right, guys. Next, if as a realtor, if someone says, hey, do you recommend any attorney, home inspector, surveyor, handyman, general contractor, a plumber, electrician, right, or architect, any of these, anything to do with real estate, you are a real estate agent and they're relying on you for this, these type of people that usually work with the house. Everybody, every one of them have one thing in common, that they service the house in different ways, right? Someone might be just a handyman just to do quick fixes, and someone might be a general contractor who's going to be a licensed person and doing all the hard work, doing major changes. Maybe you need a plumber, so you need a licensed plumber. If someone is asking you, hey, do you recommend any of these? The answer should be yes, right? And where are we going to get this information? On our realtor tools on ljagent.com. Again, some of us already forgot the new password because the password do change from time to time for security reasons. So if you do need the password for this, just send me a message. Hey, what is the new PIN for realtor tools? And I'll give that to you. Because this is live, this is being recorded, we cannot disclose that right now, but just send me a message in Teams or a regular text message and you will get that PIN there. Okay, but once you're logged in, there's a couple of different things. One is that if you're looking for a home inspector or surveyor, you might see a box individually for them. Or if you go on all the way on the bottom of the page, it says important contacts. and there you once you click on it, you will get all of them, a list of handyman, plumber, general contractor, all of them there. You do want to disclose it to your client that, hey, we have no affiliation with them. These people were just recommended. We have used them in the previous transactions and they have turned out to be fine. You want to use them? Great. Otherwise, if you're looking for a handyman or a plumber, why don't you Google it, right, for them? Look at the reviews and say, hey, this is what the office was recommending. I did my own research and I think that this plumber is really good in your area. And this person has, over 200 reviews and all of them are more than 4.5, rating. Let's check them out. And there's no, excuse of not getting multiple quotes. Just as we mentioned that you should be going to a different loan officer for different pre-approvals, same thing for these contacts. If you need a plumber, I should be getting at least 2 or 3 different quotes from different plumbers to make sure that I'm paying the fair price, right? So you want to do the research for these clients as they would do on their own and see, if you can build some trust with them. Okay. All right, guys. Next, I just want to navigate for 5 minutes here, or less than 5 minutes, our website. Okay. Every one of us should have a website that is your name .ljrealtyteam.net. Again, if you have any issues with that, finding or locating your website, let me know. Okay. But if you have access to KV Core, you should have access to your website. So number one is that even on the home page, if I'm looking for properties in Nassau and I'm looking for just a single family, so I want to uncheck all of them. I just want to look at single family properties, and I want to look for 3 bedrooms, and I want to look for 2 bathrooms, and I do a search. Your client is seeing everything that they need to see, right? They're seeing the latest property first. That means this is the property that just came on the market. Okay. They have everything that they need to know. They don't even have to ask you, right? They're navigating on your website as just they would do it on Zillow or Redfin or any other website out there. So if they're going to be navigating on your website and you haven't even gone to your website and navigated as a buyer, we should have a problem there, right? So you want to be really comfortable with your own website. Hey, it has a lot to offer. I just want to make sure I have access to it. So let's say they like this property in Plainview. They click on more details and this property is coming soon. So you have access to property that's not even on the market yet, right? So if your client sees this, they want all the details. They can see this. This is what the listing agent is putting as a selling point, right? Why they should have your buyers come in. So if you are a listing agent, you should be really spending 15 to 20 minutes just writing a description for that property, where your name, your phone number, none of that is mentioned. It is just a property. So if you were to sell this property to a stranger, how would you sell it, right? And there are some people who would go in a lot in depth, and some people will just write a line or 2. So again, you want to spend some time on this and make sure that you are, your property description is sellable. Okay. Everything on the left side here, you will see that this is all the details. This is a beautiful property, but look at the taxes. The taxes are $20,000. Maybe it's way out of the budget and it's no good. Okay. You can see what schools are available for that property. And if there's any price history, if there's any price changes, you can see that. You can see this, what style of the property it is. You can see anything that's checked off. These are the amenities that it is offering. So it does have a basement. It does have a fireplace. Okay. These are all the pros for this property here. There's a lot of daycare centers here. The elementary schools are great. It's car friendly. How about bad stuff? What's bad about this property? There's no nightlife here. The transit is not there. The restaurants is not great, right? And they can see a street view for that property. Okay. And there's been many times where you're sending them a property, they're viewing it, and they're going to see another property from your website, right? You didn't even have to do that. Your client is doing it on your own. So that's a good sign. And if you see that activity, you want to see maybe they do like this one and say, hey, Sheldon, show me this property this weekend. Okay, that's the type. Out of this, when we're navigating to this website, is it user friendly? Are they getting all the information that they need? The answers are yes, absolutely. Okay, so I highly recommend that you guys check out your own website and navigate it much as possible. Okay, all right, guys. Let me know if there's any questions, concerns so far. So for commercial listings, LoopNet. LoopNet.com is where you would want to go with commercial listings. I had few agents who said, hey, I'm on LoopNet and I don't see any commission. I don't know how much the property is worth, maybe listed for $3 million, but it has no commission structure there. I don't know if I'm going to get paid 1%, 2%. I told them, hey, this is exactly what we're going to see on MLS. We're just going to get all the property details, but no commission. So in this case, you would pick up the phone, call the listing agent. Hey, I see this 65 Broadway in Hicksville. Is this property available? Hey, yes, the property is available. Great, I have a buyer. I just want to know what is the commission that you're offering to the buyer's agent. And the response might be 0, 1, 2, 3, really depending on them itself. So they're negotiating. You can negotiate back. They say, hey, we're not offering anything. Hey, my buyer doesn't want to pay me anything. Is there any possibility that we can negotiate for our commission? Right? So just like on the commercial side, we're going to be doing the same exact thing for the residential side in the coming month. And maybe some of you guys already saw this on Stratus. The date is going to be that is going to take an effect for our Stratus MLS is going to be on August 17th. After August 17th, MLS will no longer provide any commission structure on MLS. Okay? So the days are coming. We have been preparing you guys for months now with written agreements, with your presentation. Agents who are serious are coming to the office, getting their presentation right. They're getting it as a PDF. So they are presenting that, hey, this is the value I'm bringing to you as a realtor. You're a first-time home buyer, so you want to make sure that you're on top of that. Okay. If you want to do more research for your client, right, you are that source. You need to go to RPR. Do a neighborhood search. You can do school search. You can do a property search, right? You can do a million different things on RPR, and it's part of our MLS membership. So everyone should have access to this. If not, reach out to MLS or reach out to the office so we can help you out. Okay, be that guide for our clients that's really relying on you, right? Like, hey, I'm looking for in this area. Tell me the good and the bad stuff. That's how you build trust when you're very transparent with your clients. Okay. Couple of few things that's left here. One is called lirealtor.com. Some of us get confused. It is not LJ, it's LI for Long Island. So it's LIBOR, Long Island Board of Realtors. Okay, so there they changed a few things on the navigation for you to pay your bills and other resources. The number one concern is the login. How do I log into LIBOR? It is the same exact login as your MLS Stratus. Okay, same exact login. Once you're logged in, one is you paying your bills from here, and second is your educational services. So I think especially if you're a brand new agent, you can really benefit from here. So two links, one of them educational services and resources for pros. Okay, every one of these links are a good resource for you. I highly recommend that every one of us at least check out this website, log in and check out the resources for them. Okay. So again, every morning your setup should be very similar to this. You have your KV Core open, you have your transaction desk open, you have your MLS Stratus, your email, and your Teams. This is going to be your setup to be a professional. Hey, I just want to see if there's any messages from the office in my Microsoft Teams. Is there any new emails in my inbox? Do I need to look at MLS status for any commission right now? Do I need to follow up on any files on transaction desk? And most important, is my KV core. Let me check out the listings and let me check out what's going on with my clients. Okay. So I would highly recommend that we all start inviting a loan officer to your next open house, right? Doesn't matter how many open house have you hosted already, but on the next one, just send us a message on our WhatsApp. Hey, I'm hosting an open house this weekend, and see if any loan officer can come. We'll copy paste that to the mortgage side and see if a loan officer can come and join you guys. Okay. We highly recommend that every open house that you're hosting, we have a loan officer with you. And that loan officer can be a good guide to your clients and showing them different option loan programs. And let's say you're listing a property for $700,000 or $800,000 single family, and see what their options would be. Okay. All right, guys, that will do it from my end. Any questions, concerns, anything before we get going? All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining, guys. That has been pleasure, speaking with you guys here. If any questions, concerns, feel free to reach out to us. The goal as a real estate agent is to close deals, be under contract. If you're having trouble with any of those, you need to let us know at the office so we can help you guys out. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. I will see you guys next time. Take care.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, guys.